Great. Welcome back to the House Healthcare Committee. Now we have with us Rob Black. Thank you for coming. We're going to do some quick introductions so you know who you're talking to, and then we'll let you tell your story.
Okay.
Bobby?
Bobby Carlos Rubio from Caledonia 1, Barnet, Reigate, Waterford.
Alan DeMar, representing Montgomery and Enosburg.
Elizabeth. We've met before.
Lori Houghton, City of Essex Junction.
And I'm Tom McFawn. I live in Barrytown and represent Barrytown and a part of Williamstown.
Mari Cordes, Lincoln, Bristol, Moncton, and Starksboro.
Daisy Rebecca, Winooski.
Leslie Goldman from southern part of the state near Bellows Falls.
Art Peterson, I live in Clarendon, represent Clarendon, Wallingford, West Rutland, and East Rutland.
And I know you've done this, but if you can introduce yourself for the record.
My name is William Black. I go by Rob.
Great. Please share your story. And take as much time as you need.
Story. So I don't know how many of you folks were here last time when we were here 4 years ago.
Very few. Myself and maybe Mari.
So we have told the story
And Hopper.
quite a few times. Senate, House, and ultimately got to Governor Scott's desk, and here we are still. So my son Andrew was 23, and he was he could light up a room, and he was the kind of kid that brought good feelings everywhere he went. And I learned a lot about that since this has happened. I mean, everywhere I go, there's an Andrew story, and people will stop and tell you their story. And I love hearing every one of them. There's so much about this kid that I never knew, about how really, truly good he was. So anyway, his dream job, he loved brewing beer. That was his thing. He didn't drink it, didn't like it, but he loved to brew it. So, I mean, we would come home and our kitchen would be tubes and wires and tanks, and he had notebooks and notebooks of different recipes he would try. So his dream job was to work for Lawson's, and he got offers at different breweries. He wouldn't take them. He wanted to work for Lawson's. So he finally got his job at Lawson's, and he was commuting from Essex to Waitsfield. And so he wanted to get closer. He rented an apartment in Waterbury. And kind of everything was coming together for him all at the same time. And then this happened, like out of the blue, out of left field. And it ultimately was over a picture of a girl, an ex-girlfriend on Facebook. And something in his mind went to a really dark place in a matter of a day, 2 days. When Alyssa was at work, I was at work. And there was nobody there. I mean, there was nobody there to snap about it. And really, I mean, it's about firearms, it's about guns, but it's more about time. This kid needed a minute. He needed somebody to ask him what time the Montreal Canadiens game started. Or somebody he could ask to go grab a burger or something. And if he would have just had that little bit of time to get himself into a different place, we wouldn't, or I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. I truly believe that. So I found out I was going to do this about a week ago, and I've been struggling on what to say. I've told this story a million times, and it's hard for me to tell the story, so I don't want to tell the story anymore.
That's fine.
So I'm sitting there last night figuring out what the hell am I going to do? And Andrew does something at least once a day to let me know he's still there. Either something will be moved or a light will come on or a voice. And I hear this voice and he just says, "God damn it, Dad, I'll talk to him." So I want to bring in Andrew. There he is.
Wow.
So I brought him. And if he could speak right now, he would tell you, I just needed time. And there's so many signs that this kid did not want to do this. He woke up it was a Thursday morning. I had a receipt from the gun shop. He walked in at 11 o'clock. He was out the door with a semi-automatic handgun at 11:20. And before he went, he had these socks. He loved these socks. He wouldn't let anybody wash them, nobody dry them. And he would hang them up like neatly on the line of the shower. And so he had washed his socks. He had put them, no signs led to this 23-year-old kid committing suicide. I mean, who washes their socks and hangs them up to dry if you're gonna kill yourself? So he was home by probably noon and he was dead by 4:30. So if he just would have had somebody there, and I struggle with this, if I had come home from work early that day or whatever, and you can't do that, what I do, and snapped his head into a different place, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We just wouldn't. So I'm sure everybody could have the same story. Anybody could be sitting here. It could be a brother, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter. He was not in deep depression. He wasn't showing signs of suicide. There was no mention of it. And so we're standing at the bottom of our road, and they have the whole road blocked off. The Essex police are in front of my house, probably 5 of them, 5 or 6. So the chief of police is standing with Alyssa and I, and we watch him kick our door in, and we can hear the walkie-talkies. They clear the basement, they clear the main floor, and they go upstairs. And his door was locked. So they kick the door in, and all of a sudden the chief comes walking over and says to Alyssa and I, we found a deceased male in an upstairs bedroom. I'll never forget it. I mean, my son was being classified as a deceased male, 23 years old. I mean, how do you deal with that? And the ripple effect that suicide has on everybody, the families, the friends, is worse than the actual act itself. And so I guess my point is everybody could get to a dark place at one point or another, and everybody has made, I'm sure everybody in this room at one point or another has made an impulsive decision that they wish they could take back. Alyssa and I we almost bought a motorhome once, and we woke up on a Monday like, what the hell? So everybody has had that moment that if they could take back, or if somebody would just shake them and say, what the hell are you doing? And they wouldn't try it again. And the last time we were here, we got a lot of education on suicide. And one of the statistics was that after a suicide attempt, there is the percentage of a repeat attempt is very low. But with a gun, a handgun, any kind of gun, it's permanent. There's no second attempt. When you load a gun and put it to your head or put it to wherever, unless you're a really, really bad shot, there's no failed attempt. So I understand everybody's issue. Again, I'm a war veteran and I have guns and they are locked up. Bullets are in separate places. If I ever had to use one, I couldn't because I don't know the combinations. I don't blame the gun shop owners. I don't blame the NRA people. I understand about their Second Amendment rights, but this is not taking away a right. It's giving somebody some time. And if you look through the rest of the country, this is groundbreaking work for the state of Vermont. I mean, Washington State has a 10-day waiting period. There's a lot of states that have waiting periods. 48 hours would be great. 24 would be acceptable. I mean, anything, 10 minutes, just something to make whoever is in this place realize that, you know what, there's other options. And there are, and there's a ton of other options. And most people would wake up like the motorhome and say, what? Are you crazy? And get on with their life. So this is a life, Andrew, that it's tragic in so many ways. This kid has so much to offer our world. I mean, he was so smart and so original, and he's not here anymore. I mean, he'll always be here to me, but he's not here. I can't touch him. I can't give him a hug. I can't say to him so many things that I wish I could have said, because I had no idea. I had no idea this was even in his head. So I guess my presentation to you is throw the gun part of it out, because everybody has a stipulation with that word, gun laws. This is common sense. It's a common sense law about time. We live in a world of instant gratification, but this is one instance where, you know what, you should have to wait a little bit. And I will personally take whatever amount of time they're willing to give.
Thank you, Rob. And I'm speaking for myself, not for our committee, but I personally will do everything I can so you don't have to tell the story again.
Thank you.
Any questions? It's been a long day. Go ahead, Leslie.
I don't have a question, but I'm gonna support what Lori just said. Do everything you can
Thank
so
you.
that you don't have to tell your story again.
Same.
Thank you.
Promise.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you, Rob.
I think we'll call it a day. We can go off air.